giant welcome home concert
I told you it was
was
gonna get
canceled.
What'd I tell you?
The bill was
What did
insane.
I say?
The list of artists
received the time cut because what came out was that she had an illicit relationship with Special Agent Keith Cromer.
Special Agent.
I'm going to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
Across the board.
Yeah.
They get covered on the hip hop blogs. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And you watch because I have nothing else to say.
Enemy. I make them very clear that we're enemies.
Okay.
I use
That's fair.
I use my energy
To make
to
it clear.
destroy things around them. I make
Take
things-
responsibility for that.
Rick Ross is out here making noise again. And honestly, it's starting to look desperate. Why is he throwing himself into a beef that don't even involve him?
I don't have anything in business that we would be doing that makes sense.
I don't know.
I don't have a problem with them. If I was chasing them, I would have got them by now.
In hip hop, everybody knows one golden rule. You don't poke at 50 Cent unless you're ready for war. 50 is the pettiest rival in the game, the kind of enemy who'll drag you for years without breaking a sweat. Big Meech himself found out the hard way that when 50 locks onto something, he never lets it slide. But here's where things get slimy. Rick Ross was never really ride or die for Big Meech. He used Meech's name like a chess piece just to take sneaky shots at 50. For months, Ross played that free Big Meech card, acting like he was Meech's loudest supporter, when really it was all strategy.
Gang, we 2 days away from the Big Meech concert. Get your tickets right now. Make sure everybody flying to the city for this. It's gonna be.
And now, with snitch rumors swirling in the air, Ross is trying to milk that link to Meech just to drag 50 deeper into the mud. At this point, loyalty ain't even part of the equation. It's pure survival for Ross. He's scrambling to stay in the spotlight, but the only shine he gets is when 50's name is attached. The wild part? 50 ain't even acknowledging him. That silence is louder than any diss track, and it leaves Ross looking like he's shadowboxing his own career.
I want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
Think about it. Ross bet his whole image on Meech's name, but now it's backfiring hard. Instead of being seen as a solid supporter, he's exposing himself as an opportunist who will ride any wave just to stay relevant. It's the biggest misstep he's made in years, and it reeks of desperation. So when you see Ross trying to bait 50 into another clash, just remember, it ain't about Meech, it ain't about respect, it's about headlines. If you really sit back and think on it, Rick Ross never cared about Big Meech's legacy. Not one bit. What he's chasing is chaos, and he's been pulling sneaky moves behind the curtain from day one. The second Meech touched freedom, Ross slid right in like a fake best friend.
Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big. I can feel it. I'm just talking.
Talking sweet about movie deals, big money projects, and flipping his whole life around overnight. Sounds good, right? But it was all smoke and mirrors. Let's be real. Ross was never lining up deals to uplift Meech. He was plotting, plain and simple, using Meech as a pawn in his endless chess match with 50 Cent, and at first, it actually looked like Ross scored. The moment Meech's face appeared next to Ross, 50 fired off with no hesitation, blasting Meech on Instagram, labeling him a snitch, and even posting a rat pic aimed straight at Ross's BMF image. That wasn't random shade, that was surgical precision. At the time, a lot of folks thought 50 was doing the most, exaggerating, trying to spark drama where there wasn't any. But open your eyes, those pictures, those staged rollouts, that type of publicity don't just drop from the sky. We're talking contracts, months of PR work, everything carefully lined up. No wonder 50 felt betrayed.
You're right. Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, he mentioned me. It gets covered.
In his eyes, it looked like a full setup designed to undercut his brand and his rights to the BMF legacy. Now, here's the wild twist. What if, just maybe, Rick Ross really did have a piece of genuine interest in Meech? Maybe his obsession with putting the BMF story on the big screen made him butter Meech up, hoping to lock in that official blessing. Ross has been chasing a BMF film for years, and Meech's name was the only key to make it look legit.
Covered across the board. Yeah. They get covered on the hip hop blogs. It is what it is. Yeah. And you watch because I have nothing else to say.
But let's not kid ourselves. That dream was dead before it even left the ground. Everyone knows 50 Cent owns the rights to the BMF story.
Y'all gonna be disappointed when Lil Baby don't show up? When Skilla don't show up, when Vizzo don't show up? And all these don't show up?
Without 50's nod, Ross couldn't film a single second, not even a low-budget trailer. And now that the clout train is running out of steam, where's Rick Ross? Nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, Big Meech is left scrambling, wondering why his so-called legacy concert tanked and why no one's lining up to help him bounce back.
Just had your key. Do you know with your one key, me and you got the same key to any embarrassment?
The sad truth, the only person Meech can blame is himself. Rick Ross played him like a pawn from the start. This was never about loyalty, never about brotherhood. It was always about taking slick shots at 50 Cent. But here's the crazy twist. Ross may have actually done 50 the biggest favor without even realizing it. Because if Meech could flip on 50 that quick, after everything 50 did to keep his name alive while he was locked up,
Big Meech's giant welcome home concert
I told you it was
was
gonna get
canceled.
What'd I tell you?
The bill was
What did
insane.
I say?
The list of artists on it was
maybe Meech was always waiting to show his true colors, and one thing's for sure, 50 don't play when it comes to snakes. Now Meech is out in the cold, betrayed by the same dude he thought would put him back on top. Word on the street? Ross is out here whispering, trying to get people in 50's circle to turn on him, spreading shady rumors about what 50 supposedly did to Meech. But here's the gag. Nobody's listening. The streets ain't buying Ross's story, and it's making him look even more desperate. What's really wild is Ross thought he was the puppet master, pulling all the strings, outsmarting 50 from behind the curtain. But he never realized 50 saw it coming from a mile away. That's what makes this whole situation even crazier. 50's been studying Ross for years, clocking every move, every fake play, every clout grab. And here's the part that'll shock some people. Ross's obsession with 50 ain't even about beef. Deep down, it's jealousy. Ross has been low-key envious of 50's success since the very beginning. The movies, the TV shows, the business empire. Ross wanted that shine, and he's been chasing 50's shadow ever since, hoping one day to match it. 50 Cent knows the game.
An enemy. I make them very clear that we're enemies.
Okay.
I use
That's fair.
I use my energy
To make
to
it clear.
destroy things around them. I make
Take
things-
responsibility for that.
right for just
If Rick Ross didn't keep recycling this tired beef every couple years, his career would have been cold years ago, and that's exactly why 50 doesn't even bother clapping back most of the time. He understands the truth. He's the only reason Ross still gets blog coverage today. Without 50's name, Ross barely trends. But let's keep it 100. The only reason 50 even stepped into this latest mess is because Big Meech's name got dragged into it. And when that so-called iconic comeback concert flopped, 50 didn't waste a second to laugh at the disaster. He swore he wasn't behind the scenes plotting, but the streets had a different story. Low-key, he was dropping hints that the show was doomed before it even started. And then it happened. Just 2 hours before showtime, Merritt Bank Arena shut the whole thing down. No warning, no explanation, just a cold cancellation. Their official statement? Due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's show has been canceled. Refunds will be made at the point of purchase. That was it. The biggest humiliation for Meech, live and direct. Now here's the wild part. The streets are buzzing that 50 might have pulled some strings behind the curtain to make sure that Welcome Back concert never saw the light of day.
She expressly states that Demetrius Flannery, Big Meech, put her in contact with Fidel Suarez out of California and Dion Gatlin, who is Cuffy out of St. Louis, to arrange a large sale.
Nobody's got proof, but the timing was too perfect, the vibes too suspicious. And guess who was chilling, watching it all collapse like he already read the script? 50 Cent. And if you're doubting it, just listen to what 50 himself has said about how he deals with his enemies. He's admitted straight up, he don't fight fair, he strategizes. That's why the streets believe it. Because with 50, nothing is random, every move is calculated. And if you're asking why 50 showed zero sympathy for Big Meech's downfall, just check the receipts of what he's already done for the Flannery family. 50 didn't just create the BMF show, he literally pumped millions into their pockets. Let's not forget, 50 was the one who paid out of his own pocket to send Lil Meech to acting school, gave him training, and built his career from scratch. Where was Rick Ross in all this? Where were Meech's so-called day ones? None of them lifted a finger to help. Big Meech came home moving like he was the Black Pablo Escobar, but the truth is, he fumbled his own legacy. 50 didn't have to invest in his family at all, but he did. Meanwhile, all of Meech's supposed allies like Rick Ross, silent. They never paid for Lil Meech's school, never opened a door, never gave real support. It was 50 who turned a kid with no acting experience into the star of a hit series that gave the whole family a chance to rewrite their history. And how did Meech repay him? By running his mouth online, dragging the one man who kept his family's name alive, and even pulling his own son into the crossfire. That's betrayal on a different level. 50 even spelled it out himself. I helped your family make over $5 million legit dollars. It ain't my fault it's gone. B, give the baby back his jewelry. That wasn't just talk. That was 50 reminding everyone he built Lil Meech's platform from the ground up. And now look, Lil Meech, the very person everyone expected to carry the BMF legacy, is turning on the one man who gave him a career, a lifeline, and a second shot at fame while his father was locked away. Instead of standing tall, he's stuck in the middle of a messy war that could have been avoided. The craziest part? 50 raised this kid up, put him in the spotlight, handed him a show on a silver platter, and the payback he gets is Lil Meech defending his father's ties to Rick Ross, the very guy who never did anything for him. The same dude who's been sneak dissing 50 for over a decade is now trying to play both sides, and the receipts don't lie. Just look at the leaked messages. 50 shaded Lil Meech heavy after those texts surfaced, and for good reason. Lil Meech was out here claiming he'd give 50 the shirt off his back, while at the same time defending his father's connection to Rick Ross. And then came the bombshell. Lil Meech admitted that Rick Ross had actually given Big Meech money to pay his bills until the next season of BMF dropped. That's wild. Here's what Meech texted 50. They just told me you unfollowed me on Instagram and now you managing Skill Baby with a rocket. I brought him around you first when you didn't even know who he was. Now you mad at me when I would take the shirt off my back for you? I can't believe this, man. You act like I'm your enemy. I've only ever shown you love and loyalty. I go through my own ish, but I never switched up on you. F. Ross. But he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. Now let's be real. If Lil Meech was really about loyalty, why would he even let his pops accept a dime from the biggest snake in the industry? Especially when 50 already helped the Flannery family secure over $5 million in legit money. That right there was the ultimate slap in the face. The truth is, Lil Meech exposed himself. He thought he could straddle the fence, keep eating off 50's plate while still breaking bread with Rick Ross behind the scenes. But that's where he messed up. Because if there's one thing everybody knows, it's that 50 don't play disloyalty. You're either with him or you're an op waiting to get exposed. And now, thanks to those texts, the whole world can see exactly where Meech stands. It got so bad even the game had to jump in and clown him. He couldn't resist pointing out how crazy it looks for the son of one of the most legendary street bosses in history to be caught slipping like that. Game joked about the situation, saying, "Just in time, text from Lil Meech to 50 had me dying. Hey Lil Meech, you were supposed to be like, F you, this BMF, I'm standing with my pops. Now me and Fifth got our own issues. But that ish was pure comedy while I post this." Then 50 hit with the line, "What's your little A gonna do?" And man, people said they almost spit their drinks out. That's how savage it was. And the crazy part, Big Meech just sat back and took it. Where's that gangsta image now? You can't let 50 disrespect you like that and stay silent. But truth be told, nobody should be shocked. Meech has a history of shady moves, and this feels like deja vu all over again. Let's rewind. People been whispering for years about Meech possibly cutting corners to shave time off his sentence. Folks tried to brush it off as rumors, until 50 came with the smoke and receipts. He flat out claimed Meech's loyalty was never as solid as the streets believed. And when 50 lays something out, best believe he's not just pulling stories out of thin air. According to him, Tammy Cowens, Meech's former assistant and even a BMF producer, played a key role in getting his sentence trimmed down. And here's the kicker. The way 50 tells it, that didn't happen clean. Behind closed doors, Meech supposedly had to do a whole lot of talking to make those numbers drop. Now everybody knows, in the streets, once that snitch label gets pinned on you, your reputation is toast. It's like the ultimate death sentence for respect. And just when you think it's all gossip, boom, the mess gets uglier, because there's actual paperwork backing up these claims, straight from Tammy's sworn affidavit, and it spells out how Meech might have used third-party cooperation to finesse himself a sweeter deal. Now here's where it gets flat out insane. 50 ain't just tossing shade around, he's teasing a full tell-all documentary that could rip the BMF legacy to shreds. And guess who's co-signing every word? Blue Da Vinci? Yeah, the same dude the BMF camp spent years branding as a bitter hater is now standing right beside 50's claims. And if you know the history, you already understand how serious that is. Blue Da Vinci was the original reason 50 ever started calling Big Meech a rat in the first place. Blue's been saying it for years, but back then, nobody wanted to listen. Why? Because the entire BMF myth was built on one thing, the belief that Big Meech never folded. But now, with receipts piling higher and higher, Blue looks like he might have been telling the truth all along. And the craziest twist? Every trail leads back to one person, Tammy Cowens. She wasn't just some assistant, she was Meech's right-hand woman while he was locked up. She literally ran BMF Entertainment in his absence, and even secured herself a co-producer credit on the BMF TV series. But here's the kicker that's got everybody's jaw on the floor. According to the paperwork, Tammy had been working as a government informant since 2009. That's over a decade of playing both sides. If everything had gone smoothly with her deal, Meech could have walked out as early as 2018. Imagine that. An early release that would have flipped the streets upside down. But it all blew up in the messiest way possible. Why? Because Tammy allegedly got caught up in a relationship with a DEA officer. Let that sink in. The woman who was supposed to be riding for BMF, carrying the legacy, making business moves in Meech's name, was sleeping with the very people trying to bury the empire. At first, everybody dismissed Blue Da Vinci. They said he was just salty about being iced out of the BMF show, bitter over lost fame and money. But now, Blue's not just talking. He's pulling people on calls to back up every single claim. And slowly but surely, the streets are waking up. That whole Meech never told narrative is starting to look like one big fairy tale built on smoke. Meech always screamed loyalty, always branded himself as solid. But the second the heat turned up, doors closed, and the feds applied pressure, he folded, quietly cutting deals, letting others take the heavy fall while keeping his own slate cleaner than people ever knew. If 50 drops this documentary like he's teasing, it won't just rattle a few cages. It could torch the entire BMF legacy. And while that fire burns, Rick Ross is still trying to fan the flames. Remember, this feud ain't new. It stretches all the way back to 2008. Diss tracks, lawsuits, non-stop trolling. Ross even took that infamous $7 million swing at 50 with the lawsuit win. And just last year, he came back again clowning 50 as broke. But here's the thing. History has shown time and time again. 50 Cent never lets disrespect slide. He files it, stores it, and waits for the right moment to strike back. And it's not just about pride anymore. It's business. Word in the industry is this could be the last season of the BMF show under 50's $150 million deal with Stars. That's major money on the table, the type of deal most people would cling to for dear life. But 50? He's not built like most people. He's about the long game. And if he built one empire, he'll build another from scratch. That's the difference. Once you cross him, it's curtains. This ain't just some rap beef, not anymore. It's betrayal, front and center. Big Meech had 50's support, had him keeping his name alive while he was locked down. But the second he aligned with Ross and let shady business creep in, he made his choice. And now the fallout is irreversible. 50's making it crystal clear. There's no forgiveness, no return, no second chance. 50 don't forget, and he don't forgive. That's what makes this whole situation so explosive. The question is, do you think 50's just laying down the facts straight? Or is he going full scorched earth just to wipe out Big Meech's legacy out of pure spite? And what about Rick Ross? Is he really holding it down for Meech like he claims? Or is he just playing the long game, moving chess pieces to tear BMF apart from the inside? This beef is bigger than music. It's legacy versus betrayal, loyalty versus power, and the whole culture's watching it unfold in real time. So I want to hear it straight from you. Where do you stand in all this madness? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure you hit like, smash that subscribe button, and share this video. 'Cause trust me, this drama is only getting crazier from here.